2023 is a new year for the Seattle Mariners, and that means some players need some resolutions. We have some resolutions for 6 Mariners, 3 pitchers, and 3 hitters on the Mariners in 2023, and I think this will help the Mariners take the next step as to going to the playoffs every year for the rest of time.
After we get through these New Year's resolutions, there's going to be 3 universal truths: death, taxes, and the Mariners in the postseason. We're going to start with Jared Kelenic. He's going to get the everyday left field job out there, it seems like, this year. Obviously, he's going to be platooning with the recently acquired AJ Pollock, but against right-handed pitching, Jared Kelenic should see the majority of the at-bats. Colton, do you have a resolution for Jared Kelenic in 2023?
Joe, I do have a New Year's resolution for JK, and that is two-parted. 1, just hit a breaking ball.
Overcome them, especially with a talent like Kelenic.
He commits and is not happy about it.
Just one breaking ball, please. I want to see you hit a breaking ball for a home run. Just one. Just hit it off the Hit It Here Cafe, please. And number 2, the thing that JK always needs to work on is his attitude.
He commits and is not happy about it.
Well, here's Clete Blakeman with his decision.
After review of the play, the ruling in the field stands as called.
We have seen JK strike out more times than I can count and then throw a tantrum. I love JK, I do, but he himself is his biggest enemy. His tantrums are what is holding him back from being an all-star caliber player for the Seattle Mariners in 2023.
He's shown all the tools to be a great hitter at the plate in the minor leagues. He just seems like he loses that mental battle once he gets back into the bigs and he gets inside his own head. So JK, trust yourself, trust your stick, and trust the coaching staff to point you in the right direction at the plate in 2023.
And speaking of trying to go in the right direction at the plate, Diego Castillo, man, this is a guy who is 2 very different players throughout the season. On one hand, you can get the Diego Castillo that locks it down against the New York Mets with Pete Alonso at the plate and the bases loaded.
Or you'll get the Diego Castillo that walks the first batter with a runner on second already against the Oakland Athletics in the bottom half of an extra innings game, and then tries to field a ground ball that clearly Ty France had handled and completely drops it. Now, obviously, Diego Castillo did battle a bit of shoulder inflammation in 2022, so what you're saying about him maybe not being able to control the plate a bit as much could have been in part due to his injury. Now, Diego Castillo, like you said, he's been a lockdown guy for the Mariners in the past. What is your resolution fully for him in 2023?
We just need to see some consistency from Diego Castillo. We need to see him find the plate, become the setup man that he's meant to be for someone like Paul Sewald or Andres Munoz. But otherwise, we don't really need to expect that much out of Diego Castillo. He is a key part of this bullpen, yes, but he is not the fire breather at the back end of the bullpen like Andres Munoz is. If Diego can find the plate, he'll hopefully end up more like he did in that Mets game than he did in this Braves game on the screen now.
4-run lead, but putting some traffic on with back-to-back walks to begin the 9th inning.
Michael Harris just homered last inning.
Swing and a drive. How far is that baby going?
Shortstop for the Seattle Mariners, Sir John Paul Crawford, yes, we should knight him, has been with the Mariners for a few years now, and we think that it's about time that JP finally locks down that shortstop spot. Obviously, the Mariners didn't go out and spend money on shortstops, but Joe, what do you think we should do with John Paul Crawford over there at short, since we didn't go sign Trey Turner?
Well, I really think that JP's biggest resolution that he could take coming off that 2022 year into 2023 is staying consistent with his disciplined approach at the plate. We saw great at-bats from JP in the latter half of the season. After starting off super hot with the stick in 2022, he kind of fell off in the months of May and June and brought it back a little bit with a more disciplined approach. Obviously, JP, we want him to potentially be a guy at the top of the lineup like he was in 2021, but it just doesn't seem like the right fit anymore. So in that lower part of the lineup, staying consistent, trying to get on base a bit more. If he can do that again and just turn that lineup over to Julio Rodriguez in the top half of the order with those big bats, that is my big takeaway for JP.
JP has a great eye at the plate and he doesn't strike out that much, but he needs to make bigger strides at making solid contact against the pitches he does hit. We have seen it so many times, little air balls to center field from JP, and while it worked out against the Blue Jays,
From JP and grind out this at bat.
Crawford to center field, not deep. Sprinting in Springer, and Bichette and Springer collide.
I'd like to see it look a little bit more like this home run off of Justin Verlander.
Next, Verlander delivers, and that one is high and deep to right, and J.P. Crawford flexes his muscles.
Now, continuing here with the New Year's resolution, there's no better way to start off the new year than picking up the limited edition Mariner Mojo Dad Hat. Available now. Make sure to use code HAT for 10% off checkout when you get yours today. But also, hats off to Matt Brash for making the transition from the starting rotation to a bullpen piece in 2022.
Matt Brash is going to be a reliever for the Mariners in 2023. Now, we know this because he's going to be pitching in the WBC for Team Canada out of their bullpen. So Jerry Poto and Scott Service decided, you know what, Matt, we were going to ramp you up as a starter. Because you're going to be a reliever for Team Canada in the WBC, it just makes more sense to keep you as a reliever for 2023. Maybe 2024, Brash can be a starter again. But with that being said, he's going to be a reliever for 2023. And for Brash, that is a big deal. And for the Mariners, that is a big deal to have a lockdown reliever like him in the end of your bullpen. Joe, what do you think about Matt Brash as a reliever in 2023?
The transition to the bullpen paid dividends for him in his control and his usage and his effectiveness. Matt Brash, your resolution is to continue what you were doing in the second half of last year and into the playoffs. Continue to be that guy with that breakaway slider and that high cheese that you love so much. Also, you've been working on a cutter, so integrate that into your repertoire and continue to lock down the 7th, 8th, or maybe even some of the 9ths. Hey, you're still watching right now and you're not subscribed. Change that. Subscribe.
Humongous dumper.
So big.
Raleigh, drought buster himself, has a New Year's resolution in 2023, and that is to be better against left-handed pitching. Now, don't get me wrong, people in the comments. Hey, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you in the comments. I hear you. Cal Raleigh was fine versus left-handed pitching, but no power whatsoever came out of that gigantic dumper. Unfortunately for Cal, versus left-handed pitching, he doesn't have much of a power stroke. He can get on base, but that's about it. Until we see more power out of Cal from the right side, there's a good chance that we will be seeing Tom Murphy on the right side of the plate more often than not against left-handed pitching. With that being said, I have no reason to believe that Cal won't get better versus left-handed pitching. Joe, how do you feel about the big dumper?
I mean, personally, I love the big dumper.
What do you mean by that?
No questions asked. Cal Raleigh, he's going to be the starter for Seattle at the catching spot. There's no question about that whatsoever. It's just a matter of whether or not that he is going to see those ABs against left-handed pitching. I think you've got a great resolution for him. Just work on that stroke from the right-handed side a little bit more to match his one from the left, and maybe we can see him homer twice in the same inning from both sides of the plate. That'd be pretty sick to see happen. But overall, Cal, just keep doing what you're doing.
And Scott Service is calling on Robbie Ray to face Jordan Alvarez, one of the most feared hitters in the game.
That is what we don't want to see out of Robbie Ray in the 2023 season. Ray gave up the second most home runs in the American League with 35 total, including 3 big ones in the playoffs. Of course, the biggest to Jordan Alvarez. Now, Joe, what do you think we need to see out of Robbie Ray in 2023 so that we don't see the ball sail out of the ballpark?
Well, Colton, the biggest difference for Robbie Ray from his Cy Young Award winning year in 2021 to last year in 2022 was his average fastball velocity. Last year in 2022, it was in the 48th percentile, so right kind of like in the middle of the pack. In 2021, it was in the 76th percentile. We saw it even coming out of spring training. You mentioned it right away early on that his fastball velocity was down. And that's a pitch that Robbie Ray likes to go to, high in the zone to try and punch people out, along with that breakaway slider low and away. Robbie Ray just was not having as much velocity success behind that fastball, which probably led to a lot of fly balls leaving the park.
So Robbie Ray, your resolution in 2023 is to be more consistent with your pitches, whether that be keeping them down in the zone so we don't see them get blasted through the O in T-Mobile Park, or if it is working on some strength training to get that fastball up to where it needs to be. We all know that Robbie Ray could be better than what he was in 2022. He especially needs to work on his location. Of course, A, giving up a lot of home runs, and B, seeing a rise in his walks from the 2021 season. And of course, location for Robbie Ray is such a big part of his success. And for Robbie Ray in 2023, I think that if we don't see him get some of that command back that he had in 2021, we'll see him as the number 4 starter for the Mariners by the end of the year.
Now, we took a look at the projections for the Mariners 2023 pitching staff, which would include those 3 starters that Colton said would be ahead of Robbie Ray in 2023 if he does not fix his mistakes. Make sure to check out that video on the screen right now. Again, thank you guys for watching this one, and go Mariners.